I don't either.
I don't like that. What the heck?
Hello and welcome to another episode of Nerd Age. This is a show where we talk about everything nerdy. My name is Mick. With me as always is Jonah.
Hello.
Josh.
Ooh, what's up?
And Corey.
Yo.
I think I did it out of order.
You did.
That felt weird. But you know what? We're going with it.
It's healthy.
If you like what you see here, please consider subscribing.
You like what you see.
Oh, you like it. You know you like it.
If you like how weird we get, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, share and like the video, and leave a comment down below because we're going to be talking about some stuff that we aren't really a fan of, which is, spoiler alert, Secret Invasion. Just had its last episode, so you know how it goes. We're just gonna do a little spoiler talk and give our honest opinion on things.
I mean, we're not really in the minority here. Like,
no, it's
Invasion's being bombed.
It's the lowest rated, scored episode of any of the Marvel ones.
13%.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Yeah.
But yeah,
This was like the shortest episode, so it seemed kind of
felt short too.
It was like 32 minutes or something. Like Mick said, I don't think any of us really have anything positive to say. I was kind of thinking driving over here, like, okay, can I find something positive in it? And I
Literally
drew a
nothing.
blank. This show in general was just frustrating to me. And I just feel like how they ended it was kind of what She-Hulk complained about. The season finale of
exactly
She-Hulk
what She-Hulk complained about
was like, oh, this is what they want. And she comes out of the TV and is arguing with the writers. And it's like, you did exactly what She-Hulk was like making fun of Marvel for. It is so weird. One of my biggest pet peeves, and we can just kind of talk about it, is the standoff between Nick Fury and the Rhodey Skrull and the President was completely pointless because I'm like, you just shoot him. Just shoot him. If you shoot him, he's going to realize he's a Skrull. Just shoot him. Go ahead. Just shoot him. And they're making this fake, like,
well, if you shoot him, they might shoot back.
Well,
because they're not going to realize immediately. Well, no, he was pointing a gun. Like the president was holding a gun on him.
That's true.
So if he shot Rhodey, guess what you do? You shoot. And then Nick Fury's dead. Good job, Jonah.
But
idiot.
They did it in the episode before. They did it in the episode before.
And she shot the dude
where she shot the dude, and then they're like, oh, he's a Skrull, and then he doesn't shoot Rhodey. It's like you know he's a Skrull. If you shoot him, everyone's gonna realize he is. It just felt like there was no like urgency to it, and then what ends up ultimately happening is he makes a move and they shoot him, and the president's like, oh, he was a Skrull. You were right. It just was so silly to me that that's what she would come up with as the finale. It was just silly.
I feel like that's a good way to describe this final episode is silly. Like it just didn't make any sense. Like their big plan to like destroy Gravik is like, let's give him exactly the thing that he wants. And let's just hope that I'm happen to be in the same area that he is, so that I get the powers also. We have no idea whether these powers are going to work or not.
Yeah.
Who knows? But yeah, it just seemed like that's really what your plan was in the end.
Yeah.
It just didn't make any sense.
Crazy high stakes bet.
Right.
Yeah.
And all of that because Nick Fury didn't want to call in the Avengers or anyone else.
Right.
You know what I mean?
One single Avenger.
He's like, we're going to handle it.
And it creates a character in Gaia that is now the most powerful,
way overpowered,
most powerful being in the universe, probably.
Right. And she's not going to show up in anything else.
It's completely ridiculous. Even the other thing that drives me nuts, and this has been my complaint with Marvel for a long time, which has been their characters are expendable as far as like their character development. They're not afraid to take a character that you love and kind of make him a laughingstock, what they did with Thor, where they just completely destroyed his character. Mm-hmm. They don't have any like sacred characters, so they either make them super jokey and undercut every emotional moment with jokes. And what they did with Nick Fury in this series was insane to me. So they make him kind of just this curmudgeon that's old, that doesn't know anything anymore. They're all saying, like, you can't handle this anymore. Turns out he couldn't handle it because he sends Gaia to go get Gravik while he goes and does this whole thing. But then the end of the series is the president being like, we're going to hunt down all these scrolls. And you're seeing people murdering innocent people.
Yeah.
And then lynching and killing scrolls. And then he's like, well, I got to see ya. I got to head back up to the stars. And to me, it was like, what are you doing? Like, this whole series was supposed to show us that, like, the Skrulls are angry with Nick Fury because he abandoned them and he left them. And you're supposed to be like, no, that's not Nick Fury. Like, there was other circumstances, the blip, all this other stuff. And then it just ends up being the same thing. Like, yeah, you're abandoning all these people that you just used. And now you're like, deal with it yourselves. It was maddening to me. It just totally destroyed that character for me.
Well, he has to be up there again because he's up there for the Marvels. So
yeah,
it makes sense, Jonah.
Didn't he have a line at the end, though, to kind of like half justify it, though? He was like, oh,
they'll handle it.
No, I thought he said he was going to fight it from up there or something like that. Was that not what he said?
So
he said something like that, right?
I imagine
Doesn't
what
make
will
sense.
happen in the Marvels is that he'll be up there and then he'll take Skrulls up to the refugee Skrulls will be up with me in the space station. But it's true. He failed in everything that he never got their planet back. Like,
Right.
That's
Kalos dies.
That's what it was. Kree was willing to make amends and do peace. That's what it was.
Yeah, they're open to peace talks.
Yeah.
Right. But that's
So
the
they're like,
Kree.
we're going to continue work on that. And then maybe they'll harbor them again.
Right, but that's the Kree. It shows us a moment where guys are going up and just shooting people and killing Skrulls. And the president's like, we're going to hunt down and kill every last one of you. Like,
No,
He definitely lost.
and so to me, it's like for Nick Fury to be like,
I'm out of here. Yeah.
See you guys. Well, this was fun.
yeah.
It just seemed like a total assassination of his character as far as like, what are you doing?
Well, yeah.
go ahead.
I was going to say, I agree with you because it was like during this whole show was to show how he did turn his back on them and that's how they felt. And he was like, no, like, who am I really? Am I going to fight for this? Am I going to actually hold up my word? You know what I mean? That was like the whole point of his character progression. And at the end, they kind of just made it about him being like, I love you for who you are. And
Right.
it's like, what was the real point of this? I thought it was more about you being true to your word and protecting them.
Well, and
Like,
it also,
that's felt weird that they didn't complete that arc.
He
It was like
really
a disconnected thing.
Yeah, he really ends where he began in the show. Like nothing changed with him at all.
And what makes it worse is you're supposed to feel like this like emotional hit when Talos dies, right? Because they've had this whole thing, like the opening shot of them together is like them putting their heads together and like the respect and care they have for each other. But then it just cheapens even that because it's like, man, he went against his own people to say, hey, I trust in Nick Fury. And then you're just leaving while he's dead and they need you more than ever because now they're being persecuted by the president of the United States and the full force of the U.S. military. And you're just like, well, I'm taking my wife and we're going to go back up there. That to me was just like, it makes no sense.
It just doesn't come across like he cares at all.
No. And that was the whole reason Gravik was bad is because he's like, you never cared for us. It's like, well, then he was right to.
I think you're right. It's cheap. Like the way he solved things, like the ending was not fulfilling at all.
Yeah.
And I think that on paper you say, then Nick Fury makes amends with his wife or whatever.
And they make
then
out.
They go up and they're going to solve the problem by figuring out stuff with the Kree and doing kind of like that political aspect of it and make peace and eventually figure it out. On paper, that sounds fine, right? But it doesn't, like, you're right. The reality of the things that happen are very visceral and real on Earth. And it's like, you can just take a blind eye to that and just forget about it and just be like, yeah, I'm going to talk to the Kree about this.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know. I think the choices that they made for his character just feel very, I say cheap all the time, but like, it just felt like very like surface level. There's
It's
no
not
depth.
earned.
There's no depth to any of his decisions. There's no self-sacrifice that happened. Where's the self-sacrifice? Where's that hero's journey, esque kind of feeling of character progression? Like, it just felt kind of like heartless, I guess. Like, there wasn't much passion in it. I think that's why this series kind of falls flat a lot, because everything's really short and quick and doesn't have heart.
Yeah, I think you're right where you say like it's just cheap, it's not earned. It's like the writers got like, hey, these are what we got to hit, and then people will just go with us. But if you just do that and it's superficial, it doesn't have the impact. And they did it with I can't remember her name, but How I Met Your Maria Hill. Mm-hmm. They kill her in the first episode, and you're supposed to feel something of it. Like, that's a character that's been around, and it's just not ever like they have the one moment with his mom, right?
Yeah,
with her mom, where he's like, "Was this your fault?" And he's like, apologizes, whatever. And after that, there's nothing else. The only thing that they do is like the threat that like, oh, well, people are going to think that you killed her, right? And there's no emotional aspect where there's no moment where Nick Fury breaks down and you feel that he feels bad about that. It's just kind of like, no, we did that. Now on to the next thing. Now another fake death. Gaia. Oh, she died. Uh-oh, got you. She's not really dead. Now Talos is going to die. Oh, well, there's not really any emotional aspect there. Nick Fury just leaves him there, and he's like, see ya. I got to go get the president. It's just void of any real emotion there.
Yeah.
And it's just like you said, on paper, it's probably like, oh, this is great.
We solved that problem by this answer.
It just doesn't, it doesn't work.
Oh, it felt weird too when they're like freeing all the people that got taken over and they're resuming their identity, right? When they're like unlocking them, and then Rhodey's like getting walked out. That felt weird to me because I was like, he really didn't say much. He just kind of grunted and was like,
He's like, how long have you been here?
Yeah. And
he's like,
there's nothing really going on there. Yeah. I was like, that felt really empty. Yeah. Like, we all understand, like, the trade-off of him being gone for so long. But, like, wouldn't it have been nice to, like, I don't know, like, at least identify that in the story and be like,
right,
when is this? So, like, wait, where's Tony?
Right.
Or whatever, something like that, and maybe not so corny, but
right.
Address it.
They need to hire you. That was beautiful. I got it.
Where's Tony?
Where's Tony?
Did you get goosebumps?
Where's my son?
That's the other issue that now this creates. That I don't think Marvel understands what they're doing with these shows.
Oh,
that
they
are
have
just
no clue.
Destroying what they did in the past. Because now the whole people are saying like he was a Skrull sent Civil War.
That's 10 years.
So the scenes with Iron Man and Rhodey in Endgame and all this other stuff, the funeral scenes, that wasn't Rhodey. So you go back and you undercut. You make the movies worse.
Yeah.
They did it with Loki season 1 with the Infinity Stones and how it's like they really didn't have a choice. It was all orchestrated and ordained.
Oh, those? We have hundreds of those. Those are paperweights.
So everything before, they had no say in it. So Iron Man's sacrifice isn't important anymore because that's what Kang was forcing them to do. So they didn't have any say in it. So I don't know if these Kevin Feige or whoever's making these decisions is really understanding how they're retroactively destroying what came before.
Yeah, because they haven't specifically said, oh, it's the one from Civil War. I'm guessing they're not going to do that because for the same reason. Because everyone's like, oh, so that when he cried when Tony died, that wasn't him. Mm-hmm. He fought to save Earth, and all of a sudden... So why would he fight to save Earth in the first place? So he went through all this, fought with the Avengers, and then he's like, yeah, Earth sucks. Let's kill them all. You know what I mean? It just doesn't make sense for the Skrull character.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to be on defense of Marvel choices, but they didn't really have a Super Skrull yet. So like, I would just imagine they're like, oh, we can't really, they are the most powerful. They can defend Earth. I understand the idea of like,
well, I'm just saying
because they would just be destroyed with that.
Yeah, I'm saying for this Skrull who is Rhodey, who's been him for 10 years, he's gone through all these experiences with the Avengers. So he's gone.
Oh, I see what you're
he's
saying.
created like
A family.
Even though it might be fake, he still is
He's
forming
still
bonds.
forming bonds, and he's
Yeah.
going through these experiences like, hey, we're protecting
Okay.
Earth.
I get you.
And then
that would have been a better story.
In this episode, and this
oh, that'd be so much better.
in
Yeah.
this season, he's like, man, screw all you guys. You know what I mean?
would be
He
so
even
much better.
acts way different.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, what are you taking
Yeah.
stupid pills this
Yeah.
morning? You're like, what?
Yeah,
Okay.
it comes out of nowhere. He's never been that way.
Right.
The other thing is
because
like,
they had
out
no
of
clue.
character.
and the other thing is like, since Wynn is a colonel,
An
this is the other thing
advisor
that's
to the
driving me crazy.
president.
That he's just like, you need to do the
Well,
strike now.
I
He's
wrote-
like,
I
hey,
wrote
sorry,
your,
you don't know. You're being stupid.
Yeah.
And like, I'm like, you don't.
Like, who are you?
When has this ever happened?
Also, where's your suit, bro?
Yeah.
Where is my
Is he
super
also?
suit?
Was he still paralyzed or like
Oh, they were helping him walk.
the real
when they-
Rhodey, right?
Yeah, when they took him out, they were saying like, "Oh, well, they helped him
So
walk
was the
because
scroll just
technically,
pretending to be?
exactly, it doesn't make any
paralyzed?
sense.
It doesn't make sense.
So,
Oh, I thought it was
But
because
Rhodey
he'd
wasn't
been,
paralyzed. The scroll Rhodey wasn't pretending to be paralyzed.
but he would have
But he
been
was, right?
because he had leg.
He had those bionic
assistants.
After
assistant
Civil
thing.
War, Rhodey had like the leg
Right.
assistant
Legs,
stuff
yeah.
to help him walk. So who knows?
Yeah.
Marvel's gonna change it. They asked the director like how long, and
And he
was
blamed
like,
fans.
Well, no, because they said, how long has he been there? And he was like, oh, he's been there a really long time. And the guy said, Civil War? And he said, yep. So the director confirmed it, but I bet Marvel's going to be like, oh, it's been 2 weeks. It's been 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Because I read another article where the director was talking about it, and he's like, you know, it might be better for us to never give the answer. I think it's more enjoyable when people kind of like
I saw that.
when fans are like, so they're trying to figure it out. That's a lot more enjoyable than us giving. It's like that's just a cop out because now they're realizing that they made a mistake, that it's stupid, and
They're trying to
they
save
can't
face.
just save face with like, oh, it's a plot hole. Let's throw some humor at it, and people forget about it. They're doing it over and over again, and I think. Finally, this is my complaint with Marvel for a long time, is I feel like there's been a lot of plot holes, but because the movies have been funny and
People
overlook it. But when it's one after another and it's already building bigger issues, I think people are starting to be like, yeah, what the heck? Why haven't you shown a giant coming out of the Earth's crust? Like, why hasn't that been an issue? Why
Just
is
a
Hulk
celestial? That's all.
changing in between every movie? Why is this kind of stuff happening? So I just think people are finally starting to be like, yeah, this makes no sense.
Why does he have a kid now when he told Natasha in Age of Ultron that he couldn't have kids?
Yeah.
Exactly.
What up?
It doesn't make any
He just
sense.
didn't like her.
Who was it?
Hulk.
Hulk.
Oh, Hulk.
Because he has a kid now
Hulk
after
Jr.
She-Hulk. That's it's. But a lot of people are saying those characters are not going to show up.
Right.
Oh,
Like
Hulk's
a
son
lot of
is
stuff
never
they're
gonna show up.
showing or that they do is like, that's really not gonna.
Yeah.
So what's the point of these shows anyways if you're not really gonna follow through with anything?
I think
Contracts, money.
I think it's a problem that they definitely have to address because, I know some Marvel fans that are like diehard Marvel fans and they're like calling out the BS a little bit now, which is crazy because typically, like Snyder heads, they just have blind faith, you know what I mean? And it's
Put the
just
blinders on.
they never see the truth and it's just about time people
But we
start
are
seeing
the
truth.
real faithful. Like we have true faith.
Yeah.
Marvel, your faith is kind of like,
Yeah, it depends on how funny the joke
you know.
is.
It does feel good
Right.
not being in the minority on the MCU right now, though.
Yeah, that's true.
Like forever since, from like phase 1 to phase 3, basically, there were a lot of duds in there. And it just felt like you were saying, like everything just got a pass because it was, I guess, funny. People found it funny.
This is the best movie ever. This is the best movie ever.
They were super popular movies.
Yeah.
Like, they're still popular, but the TV shows are just bombing and destroying Marvel.
Well, I think that's
And the movies weren't great either, but lately.
that.
But
That's
the TV
just,
shows are terrible.
it's just one of those the lack of planning, I guess. I have the same problem with Star Wars where I feel like they decided to do stuff and they didn't really think it through. They just thought, hey, if we do this, people come and watch. But the reality is if people are watching certain things that they are connecting with, if there's better shows out there. A perfect example is, if we're talking about Oppenheimer, right? If you go watch Oppenheimer and you connect with it and you see, wow, this is really good, and then you watch an episode of Secret Invasion like I did, you can tell the drop in quality is astounding. And so I think if there's other shows out there that people are watching that are just better made. And then people come and watch a Marvel show and they're like, why does this feel so empty? I think that's when you're starting to see those competitions like from Netflix and other studios that are doing the streaming wars that everyone thought Disney was going to win, right? Well, you can't just win based on your name. You have to win based on the quality that you make your product.
Yeah.
And I think that's what kind of Disney's seeing, that, hey, just if we throw a name like Loki or Nick Fury in this, or Secret Invasion, you can't just stamp a name on it and think people are going to enjoy it. You have to actually make a good quality show. Star Wars has kind of felt that way. Obi-Wan, I think, was good, but there's some things that fell short. So I just think it's kind of that same dynamic that we're having, where it's like, you have to make something good that people enjoy. And if you don't, people are just not going to watch it.
Yeah, I think this is also a side effect of having a connected universe, and everything is supposed to fit in a linear timeline and make sense.
Yeah.
I think in the beginning, when it was like phase 1, that was a really cool idea because it was just 5 movies that needed to connect.
Yeah.
Now, after 10 plus years, you have these shows that need to connect. You have these movies that still need to connect, but clearly they're trying to tell their own story, which I get. Like that's how it is in comics. There are connected stories that go, tons and tons of issues, but there's also, one-offs. There's Elseworld stories that I think DC is taking a better advantage of that, in terms of like their Batman stuff and Joker stuff. And I mean, who knows what down the road, but I wouldn't be opposed to seeing Marvel do that. 'Cause I think at this point, it's just getting so just heavy and just overanalyzed, overdone.
It's oversaturated with too many characters. I just think we're going to start talking about the Loki trailer that dropped too, Loki season 2. Yeah. But I just think when you have so many characters, every new movie has to have like the next big threat. And it just becomes, if you don't do a good job on establishing rapport with the main character, it just feels like another like empty threat. Does that make sense? Like if I don't care, think about Ant-Man, if I don't like the character of Ant-Man and I don't feel that his relationship with his daughter or whatever the case may be is genuine, then I'm not going to care what happens when she's in danger later on in the movie, and it just feels like generic. So I just think that's the problem. It's oversaturated with so many superheroes all over this universe that then you're like, well, where it creates these giant
What
plot
about
holes.
his relationship with MODOK?
I mean, that's exactly it.
They were brothers, Jonah.
He's an Avenger now. He died as an Avenger.
I think one of my biggest issues, and I think it's just been a long time coming, is just the rate at which they're pumping out these things. And I think that's degrading the overall quality.
Yeah.
Because for me personally, I know maybe I'm in the minority, but I really enjoyed the early movies that they were putting out. I really enjoyed them. Characters were, they were new, but they're old. The comics have always been around, but like the amount of detail and character they put in these movies were awesome. They weren't as like, what's it called? Like that complaint that I always say where it's like, it felt like one person wrote a joke and they're like, we need it in the movie. Who's going to say it? You can say it.
Yeah.
But it's not like owned by that character. It doesn't fit the character. So there's a lot of that lately in the past, 5 years or so. It just feels like it's just degraded because they're just rushing stories out as fast as they can to progress whatever greater plan they have. I just wish that they'd slow down. I know they're not going to, but I think that's a big contributing factor is the rate at which they're trying to push all these out just to get money and just try to create new stuff. And so I just wish they'd slow down and just maybe, get some better writing in, take longer than 2 weeks to write it. Maybe don't use AI to write scripts. They haven't said they have, but I don't know. It just starts to feel like that over time.
Yeah, it really is just a machine pumping out product.
And I think there's a problem with that.
Yeah. That's the thing. I think the problem is they run the studio, and Feige and several directors have said this, is that they've had certain directors direct movies and said, hey, you don't have to worry about these scenes. We've already shot them. We've already got people working on them. And so when you're doing like assembly line movies where you're already filming this certain scenes and you only want a director for certain stuff to just basically put your name on it, but it's not really your movie. That shows, because you start feeling like, man, this is really similar. Like there's a video that compares all these fight scenes in Marvel movies and they're like, these are all the exact same. Like even down to the setting and the colors. Mm-hmm. And when you start doing that, creating movies by formula, by an assembly line, and that's where AI comes in too, because you can plug in an AI to just be like, oh, write these scenes for us. We're going to be doing it anyways. We don't need a director. You pay less for writers, that kind of stuff. I just think that's where it suffers. And to be able to say, like, I hope they slow down, but the reality is that now that they have the X-Men and they're trying to introduce the X-Men, introduce Fantastic Four, you're just creating more superheroes that you're bringing into a universe that I'm like, I wish they would do the X-Men and just be a separate universe. Yeah. Like just focus on doing the X-Men separate.
The beauty, the thing that I thought was beautiful early on for Marvel was the unique first episodes introducing these new characters. Thor, Iron Man.
Iron Man's great.
They had so much character unique to those characters, like that just fit them. And then over time, they're like, okay, we can slowly open it up and then we'll start slowly introducing them to each other in these movies. And it's like, that worked back then for me.
Right.
And now it's like, now that that's been done, I don't know. I feel like it just needs to rotate away from that. We need crossover all the time. We need that collaboration. It's like, just let them have their own movie and try to separate it somehow, whether it be in a different universe or whatever. I don't like universes or time travel, but that's fine. And let them have their own character. I don't really, Guardians of the Galaxy is, a bit too silly for me, but at least they own their style.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? At least they're unique in that way that's that style, Can't believe I said that, but you know what I mean? Like a lot of these are just feeling super generic.
Yeah, I think, Bob Iger said they're going to slow down on the TV shows. He's like, we can't keep making, because they've been crappy.
Well, because the writers are on strike too, so they don't have anybody.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, to your point about the like cookie cutter type of stuff, they've had plenty of directors that have left because of creative differences. Yeah. So Scott Derrickson did the first Doctor Strange, and then when they said, hey, it's going to be a multiverse movie and you have to do all these other stuff, he was like, I don't want to do that. Like, I want to tell a Doctor Strange story.
Yep. Edgar Wright left.
Yeah, Edgar Wright left Ant-Man because they were like, it's a vehicle to basically create all these other things. And that's what these movies really become. It's like, we just need to get these characters from point A to point B and introduce a new villain or a new ally that's going to show up two movies from now. And it's like,
and then we'll repeat that with the next movie.
Right. And directors some don't care, obviously, but
so just want that bag,
There's a interview with the Russo brothers where they're talking about when they were making the movies, and they're like, we would get like messages from higher ups being like, hey, we changed this scene. This is being filmed by the second unit. You guys just focus on this. And they're like, and we didn't even know what the scene was, but then they'd add it, like, we'd watch it and be like, okay, well, this can fit here. So I'm like, then you're not having your directors actually invested in making the movies. Mm-hmm. It's like when again, I'm going to bring up Oppenheimer, but Christopher Nolan, he's writing the story. He knows what he wants. He's getting his story out there. Marvel is doing... Let's have...
You just can't compare
this story. Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. Like, I think you think of Christopher Nolan in the Dark Knight trilogy, his Batman trilogy.
Yeah.
It's his. He's making the decisions. He's not saying, oh, I'm going to change this. And that's what you're talking about, was that story is contained to him, right? They said they wanted, the studio wanted to add more characters, like make it a bigger universe. And he said, no, I don't want that. I just think that's a better way to do it. I hope Matt Reeves... That's what's happened with James Gunn wanted to bring Matt Reeves' Batman into his DCEU, and he said no. I think you keep them separate, and you just say it's too much. It gets too big to kind of have to do all this kind of juggling of actors, storylines, and people just want to go and watch a story and be entertained. And it's when it gets giant like this, it just opens so much other stuff to just kind of deteriorate.
The more I think about Marvel and what they've created in the past, X amount of years, it's like they've just become more and more of a production company for a product versus like a director pouring his heart and soul into a story by studying the character and seeing what would be the most like heartfelt story of inspiration or hero story or whatever. That's what superhero movies are supposed to be about.
Yeah.
Self-sacrifice, protecting the weak. That's classic. And it just feels like we're just so like meta now. They're trying to make these statements that's so like, super meta from an actual like good superhero story that just feels like a product. Oh, we need what you were saying. We need to get X, Y, Z in this movie, and we need to get it done by this date. That's what the client needs because that's what our statistics told us would make the most money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's what it feels like.
Or even with this, it's like we're gonna adapt Secret Invasion, this crazy comic into a show, and it's like, what was that? Like, you know what I mean? Oh, there's one twist. Yeah. Rhodey was a Skrull the whole time. Oh no!
Yeah. By the way, the comic way like million times better. You should definitely read it if you haven't. It's great.
Do you guys think what would you do to fix this?
Reboot.
Well, here's the
How much
question:
money are they offering me? First of all,
would you think they should have ended it like with the run of Avengers, right? So Endgame.
Yeah, you mean
yeah.
When that came up, right? Iron Man dies.
Nice.
They kind of had that whole thing, Thanos stuff. Should they have just been like, all right, that's the end. We're going to restart with some different characters and kind of do a same thing where we build up to some other stuff, or reboot, or do, hey, now we're going to have, maybe we're on a different universe. So now it's kind of like the same build up. Would that have been something? I know people would probably freaked out about that, but that gives you kind of an end and then a restart to get kind of refresh people and do something different. Because I do feel like, how do you, when it gets so big, how do you continue it without feeling like you've rehashed all this kind of stuff?
Yeah, I definitely would have done something like that. And I think, to their credit, I think they did try to change things up because that's when they didn't have besides Spider-Man Far From Home, they didn't have a movie for like at least a year or two. It was quite a while, but then they went into shows. So they were trying a different like media, I guess, which, I'll give them props for that. But I think in terms of like hard stop, let's take like 3 years, 4 years, reboot. I think that would have been a more preferable outcome, especially seeing now. I mean, it's easy to say that one. It's like, yeah, this Phase 4 was pretty bad, and so far Phase 5 is not looking that much better. So I definitely would have started over, focused on X-Men and Fantastic Four or something.
That's what they should have done is you end this, you start focusing on X-Men, you build that out, and then down the line you can cross over into a multiversal type of thing of like, oh, all these worlds are crossing over. And then at that point, you're a couple years down the line, and how stoked are people to be like, oh my gosh, Thor showed up. You know what I mean? Yeah. Instead of now, you're just kind of like,
Thor showed up.
Thor's flying around with his space daughter somewhere. Yeah. They keep referencing Captain America, but where's Captain America at? Are they it's just like, it's kind of just like petered off into whatever. And it doesn't look like it's getting any better, to be honest. Like, Kang the Conqueror is what everyone's supposed to be building up towards, and they haven't recast him yet. So
I don't think they are.
It seems just like, I think we talked about with some of the older movies is like, or earlier in this phase, we're like, it needs a direction. Like the Marvel needs a direction, and it's just like, we're just like,
it's kind of floundering,
pumping out shows that don't add anything significant to the story. It's just kind of like, okay, whatever. Next story.
Yeah, because even like from like Phase 1 to Phase 3 for Thanos and the Infinity Stones, you could really tell that they were building to something that had a giant impact on all the movies. With the latest stuff, it's like, I just feel like they're really trying to force it and not just let it happen naturally. Because it's just, I just don't care really. I think that's the problem. I have no interest.
I think they already messed up a lot. And I have a hard time figuring out how to fix it because they kind of screwed the pooch on a lot of their characters that were beloved and left over.
Yeah.
So what I would have done if I could go back in time before they did all this shenanigans with the TV shows, which, by the way, I would say that the moving, like the media and Disney Plus moving to streaming services kind of just forced their hand a little bit. Not forced their hand, but they wanted to take advantage of that.
Right.
That money suck that was in COVID. So, I mean, smart for money, but not for the overall health of it. But I think some better treatment of the old characters that actually lasted through that. I think also maybe making some connections to and not touching it for a long time, but having some tie back to Tony Stark's daughter eventually down the line of some sick reveal with her. That kind of stuff gets me excited. But don't go back to that honey pot right away. Give it some time to marinate, like what you were saying with Thor. That would be sick if you did all this stuff and then eventually, he comes back or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I just felt like they didn't treat these characters that they built and their beloved characters. I don't think they treated them with respect, and they became butts of jokes too soon. We don't like that. Generally, we don't like that. I mean, it's you look at Endgame and how serious and epic it was and how heartfelt a lot of that self-sacrifice and stuff like that going on in there. I was a fan of that. I'm a fan of that. I think it's a good movie. And it was a tough movie to make, but yeah. And then right after what did we do right after that? It's we just came back to the pot too quick. I think, yeah. Secret Invasion feels coming back to a character that no one really cared about. You know what I mean? I don't know. It just felt like they don't have a real good understanding of how the fans felt about their characters.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know, because I feel like people care about Nick Fury, but what they got in the show is
that's what I mean. They're not treating him with respect.
Yeah, they're not writing.
They kind of made him kind of this frail old man. It's is he, I don't know. It's just weird how they make him out to be this bad guy.
Even the scene that's supposed to get you pumped up just fell flat when he puts his eye patch on and he gets his suit on and he's at the funeral, at the cemetery.
I was going to say, I didn't even know what scene you were talking about.
That scene, he's getting his gun and doing all that stuff. That's supposed to be chills. It's kind of the typical superhero movie where, Iron Man gets his suit or Batman gets his suit and he that was supposed to be the build up to this is the intro to the finale.
Yeah.
And it just felt like nothing. This is silly.
Well, plus he didn't even go and take on the bad guy. He went to see the president.
Yeah, it was a bait and switch. And so the weird thing is, you're saying, Corey, this is exactly what you're saying is they dropped the ball on how to create these or write these characters for these shows that you feel like they have care, right? These just feel how do we get to the next plot point and how do we write this so that we can kind of tell this story, but there's not really care in it. And whether it does kind of feel, I don't think they're using AI, but it does kind of feel like that. It feels like an inhuman, someone that doesn't care about these characters writing it. This is like me writing a Marvel character, right? Because I haven't been invested in Marvel as much. So I wouldn't have that what are these little things that people enjoy about this character that I'm going to bring out? You need to have someone writing those things that understands the character and understands why people love those characters. But when you have a Taika Waititi doing a Thor movie that completely makes Thor a joke, and even Chris Hemsworth is I'd never come back to do Thor again unless we could go back to the original Thor because they made him a complete joke. That's the problem. You've created this whole thing where it's you didn't care about your characters and treat them respectfully.
I think it's also part of the downsides of getting, and this happens in the design world where I work at, where it's hey, guess what, guys? I know you guys would like to do all this stuff with a cool movie, but unfortunately our deadlines really moved up, and actually we need to have a script by last week.
Yeah.
And so it's I think that's a lot. I bet if you talk to a lot of those writers that they'd be like,
Oh, I'm sure. They're like, hey, we've got 3 movies and 2 shows coming out.
Yeah.
And they're all interconnected, but no one's talking to each other.
and we need these things to be endpoints.
Right.
And that's all they just give them bullet points. And they're like,
Yeah.
all right, how do we get them from point A to point B?
So-and-so needs to end up here. That's all I need.
What's that
But it's
joke
not-
we used? He's like, we used it like 4 movies back. Do you think we use that again? But have Thor say it this time? Oh yeah, let's do that.
But I think that that is true because I think you don't see a lot of heart and soul in these movies.
Yeah.
And it's because they have to connect the dots. And it's like they're being forced. And it's like, well, why don't we ask, the justification for these decisions for this character? In a lot of cases, maybe it's not justified or it's forced.
Right.
And that's why it comes off heartless. So it's like, I think that's a big problem.
Yeah.
And that's why primarily I said they need to slow down.
Yeah.
I don't think they will, but they need to slow down. I mean, they will because of the writer's strike, but not by their own choice.
Yeah. So, did we want to talk about the Loki trailer?
So anyway, Secret Invasion,
Yeah.
2 thumbs down.
Yeah, Secret Invasion. I think.
Disappointing. Yeah.
Yeah, disappointing. I think just a missed opportunity for something that could have been interesting.
Had
Yeah.
a lot of potential and just did not get there.
The Loki 2 trailer came out.
Loki 2?
Loki was Loki was Loki the first show?
WandaVision.
WandaVision was the first show.
WandaVision, yeah.
So Loki was the second one. I still think Loki is the best show that I've seen, Marvel show.
But you didn't watch WandaVision.
I didn't watch WandaVision.
Okay.
But
I still
the
think
ones
you'd
I've
like
seen,
Loki better, though.
Loki's better.
Probably.
But it still, to me, drives me crazy just how they kind of erased all the decision making for in the past. If you haven't seen it, sorry, spoiler. But this
Yikes.
trailer, I don't know what they're doing with this
Blindsided by
trailer.
spoilers.
Short Round being in it was the best part of the trailer. He's always going to be Short Round to me.
Is he playing the
just
same
is.
character from
I think he is.
Everything Everywhere All at Once?
Yeah.
No, he's playing Short Round. That's actually,
Yeah, he's also in the...
From an alternate
but
universe.
I don't know. Again, my problem with these trailers is it's like, there's the next big threat. Like the world's going to end. It's insane. And I just feel like you got to make me feel like there's stakes. Marvel hasn't done that in the last few years with shows, with movies. So I don't know. The Kang stuff, I was disappointed with this Kang stuff in Ant-Man. I thought it kind of undercut how bad we were supposed to think Kang was. So whenever they show Kang in this trailer or give little hints of him, I'm like, that guy got
I'll say it
beat
looks
by
pretty
ants.
goofy in this one.
Yeah. So to me, I don't know. I think the best part of this is Owen Wilson. I think he's good as Mobius. And yeah,
You mean Morbius?
Wow.
but
Yeah.
other than that, I'm like, we'll see.
Yeah, I think, and maybe it's just the trailer doing it because I got burned from the trailer for season 1 stuff, but it looked like they were selling it as like a buddy cop time adventure
That's what I was
thing,
going to say.
and I saw that in this trailer.
Time
and
cops, bro.
That would be an interesting show for me. I would definitely want to see a show like that.
The bait and switch. Then he's going to go with his
probably will
female
be.
Loki and
It probably
make
will
out
be,
with her again.
which is just
Yeah.
which is such a shame because, like you said, I love Owen Wilson.
Yeah.
I think that those characters had good chemistry when they were working together. It just didn't last at all. So if that's like a bulk of the show is them going through time, fixing stuff or whatever, like working together, that's what I'd be excited for. Like you said, probably won't happen. Probably a stupid bait and switch. And yeah.
I had the exact same thought. I was like, time cops, we're doing it. What you promised us and what we thought had potential in the first season.
Yep.
They're teasing it in the trailer, but like you said, we're probably going to be disappointed.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I agree. It's the same thing of like, they're still having, what is it? He Who Remains or whatever, whoever this character is, the Kang character. It's like, I'm not sold on it just because we already saw
and
an Ant-Man, but
how does even the TBA even work anymore? Like, if in the first season they kind of kill the guy and all the timelines break, it just seems like another thing you're going to explain that you won't explain and just be like, yeah, well.
They're just going to be like, how are we still here? And they're like, I don't know, but we have work to do.
Yeah. Someone's going to be like, Palpatine, somehow. All right. Corey, what do you think of the trailer?
I mean, I don't really.
Time Cops?
I'm not super into it.
Time Cops, bro. Let's go.
When is it supposed to come out?
I don't
October.
know. Okay.
October 6th or something like that.
Yeah. All right. Well,
Halloween.
yeah, we'll see about that.
Yeah. Because, I mean, that'll be. What's the next show after that? Echo?
I'm going to watch it because we're on the podcast, probably.
Yeah.
But if it wasn't for the podcast.
Well, bro, it's on your top 10. I remember. You put it on your top 10. Yeah, you put it on like number 10.
Did he?
Yep. Unless you moved it at the
I
end.
think I moved it up.
But I think you had it originally.
Right here. I can check it.
I think you had it originally.
He's
we can
gonna
go back.
find-
I think I would have said. I
think Josh is lying. I don't remember him saying Loki.
Check the tape.
I think he has a point, but I think it's like 11 or 12. I'm gonna be honest. For this year, we didn't have a lot of
That's
things.
what you said.
guys.
That's exactly what you said. You're like, I'm going to be honest. You said, I'm going to be honest, guys. There's not a lot coming out this year, so I'm going
Corey
to put
was like,
Loki. And you were like,
If I would get a
I kinda
table,
liked the
I'd
first
put
one.
table number one.
right.
This is for 2022.
Check the tape.
Yeah, but that's when we did it. Yeah,
Is that when we did it?
2023.
It's for this year, right?
Yeah, 2023.
Yeah, but we did it in 2022.
Yeah, but he said this is for 2023.
We wrote it in 2022 for 2023.
Oh, did the Batman come out
No, that was
last year, right?
so, yeah.
Yeah.
Check the tape.
I might have all our lists. I'll check it
I
off,
write them down.
off air. I'll check it off air and tell us. I don't.
We'll
I don't.
know
Stay
at
tuned
the end
for
of the
next
year.
week
We'll
when
know
we
at the end
find
of the
out.
year.
Yeah. So I'm the same way. I'm like,
Yeah.
another. Again, I just feel like, and this is as someone who's not a big Marvel fan, so I'm just kind of like,
Is it 6 episodes again?
Probably. That seems the thing to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was people being chased and clocks
Weird
stomping on people and
stuff.
glitching stuff. But yeah, it just seems like another run of the mill.
Yeah.
I like the pie thing.
It made me think of Spider-Man 3.
Great pie.
If he doesn't go so good, I'm going to be disappointed. So good.
But yeah, do you guys have anything else to say on Loki? There's not. I guess there's not much. We're not going to dive deep into anything.
Yeah. That's it for me.
That's it for me.
We're going to move on just to kind of just a little random news stuff going on. The writer's strike obviously is still going on. So things have been gotten delayed. Things have been gotten delayed.
They might hire you, dude, to be a writer.
That's crazy. Oh, nice.
Spider-Verse is
Delayed indefinitely. It doesn't have a date.
Craven got moved a week.
A year.
A year?
Yeah, it comes out 2024 now.
So yeah, everything's Blue Beetle's still coming out because that movie's going to make $20 million.
Gosh. Hey, your boy Zack Snyder's.
Zack Snyder's
pumping it.
promoting it, and that's gotten the most clicks. But yeah, so there's just a lot of delays. I don't know how long the writer's strike will last. I mean, I don't know. It seems like the studios are kind of just being like, we got money.
Yeah,
Netflix is like, we got stuff to stream.
We're hiring AI people.
We got AI now.
Yeah, so I don't know.
People are saying January, but it could last until January, February.
Crazy. Wow.
Gosh.
But
that Spider-Verse one that hit hard.
I would love to see a list of all their grievances and what they're demanding.
They
Is
dropped
that not public at all?
Mm-hmm.
They put out, when they first did a strike, they put out what they were asking for and then what the studios were saying they wouldn't do.
Right.
And so then they dropped the whole thing about the studio wanted full control of like people's likeness for free for the rest of time. And they were like, no.
Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah, it's pretty nuts though. I don't know. There's some times when I'm like, yeah, they should get paid more. And then other times I'm like, after watching Secret Invasion, I'm like, they shouldn't get paid more for this. They got paid exactly what they deserved. And probably a little more.
They should get paid based on Rotten Tomatoes ratings.
Based on, they should send it to me, and I'll be like, pay this man.
But then you think about all the stupid HBO CEOs that got paid boatloads of money to just ruin things, to be like, put Superman in that.
Yeah.
Do this. And then they're like, we're going to still release the movie because I need to cash a check.
Yeah.
Okay. You know, you're like, those people are idiots.
Yup.
But I think we all have bosses that are idiots.
Not me, bro.
What are you trying to do here?
Yeah. What are you trying to do here?
I mean, we've all worked for people in the past that we're like, yeah, that guy shouldn't be making that much money. How come he?
You're still trying to do it.
You know.
True, I agree with you. In past
In the past.
jobs, not current.
Like our boss that runs the Nerd Age podcast, you know, that tells us what to do. Like that guy's an idiot.
The guy who writes the script.
The guy that writes all our stuff, and then he gets all the money, YouTube money,
sucker.
and all that kind of stuff.
All the
like
YouTube
we hate
money.
that guy. That guy's the worst.
Yeah.
So we know how it is, but we suck it up for the paycheck.
He spit at me the other day.
Yeah.
Told me to suck it up.
He keeps telling us we don't earn any money on this, but how can we not, guys?
This is gold.
We should say something about being in solidarity with the writers.
Yeah,
Because that's what all the YouTubers are doing now. They're like, well, technically, we can still do things. They're like, you're not in the union. Get out of here.
Just relax and just keep making your stuff and taking advantage of the lack of writing going on.
Yeah.
What else is going on? I know Nintendo. Well, sorry, there's a rumor that Nintendo's next gen console is coming out next year, end of next year.
I just bought a new Switch. Nintendo!
It's okay, dude.
They got me.
You got a year.
They got me with that Zelda Switch. Didn't even come with a game.
They never do.
That's crazy. That's for that. That's I don't get that.
Looks pretty though.
Looks pretty.
Did you get the special edition PS5 controller? The Spider-Man one?
The cover thing?
That opened up, didn't it?
Yeah. So they came out with the cover. You can get the PS5 with the thing, or that you sell the cover separately, and then there's a controller. That looks pretty sweet.
It's sold out.
Is it sticky like
It's
a
sold out
spider web?
really fast.
Yep.
Yeah, it's got web.
Yep.
Nice. I'd be sick if it had a web shooter.
But it
You
just
shoot your
shoots
TV. Silly string.
I mean, I'm pretty sure you could probably just load it up. There's probably an adapter.
No, those are Wiimotes.
Just hold the
Only
silly string
Nintendo does that
canister
kind of stuff.
underneath.
What do you think of the Nintendo's console? Because you mentioned it's not going to be better graphics than the next gen stuff. It's going to be like with current PS5 stuff, or maybe a little less.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be pretty along the lines of like PS5. Hopefully. That's what the rumor is from some developers that have leaked some information, because when you're developing a console, you have to develop games too, right? So these studios get access to preliminary versions of these consoles. So you know what, our cousin Matt probably has seen one of them.
God, I'm gonna have to hit him up.
He can't talk
hit him
about
up,
it,
bro.
Oh, he can talk to family.
I talked to Philip about it, maybe my buddy. Try to get the lowdown.
Here's a question for you. What shape will this be?
This is a great question.
Is it going to be a cube? They've already done the GameCube.
cube.
I mean, is it going to still be handheld?
It's gonna be a Rubik's Cube.
It's not going to be handheld. If it's
You
going
have to solve it.
I don't think it's going to be handheld.
Why not?
Is it going to be handheld? What's the shape? Give me a shape. Give me a shape.
A sphere. It's going to be a basketball.
Game Sphere.
I'm saying a triangle.
No,
I'm going
stupid.
crazy, guys.
You are an idiot.
I'm going crazy.
I don't say it much, but it's got to be a rectangle. Obviously,
Has to be. Why?
it has to be.
Why?
If you want it to be mobile and be powerful, you got to go out like this, out to the sides. So I think it's gonna be very well. I know Nintendo likes to be very unique, so
Triangle.
I'm probably gonna be wrong here, but I think they're just gonna make a beefier version of what they got. I think they're gonna still have the removable. They're not called nunchucks. What are they called? I don't know. But
So what you're saying is it's going to be called the Switcheroo or something like that.
what are they called? Wiimotes?
What are they freaking
Switcheroo?
No.
Wii-Cons?
Joy-Cons.
Wii-Cons.
We got
I was close.
nunchucks.
Yeah, it's just
The
going to be called the
nunchuck was the-
Switcheroo. Switcheroo.
I think the console is just going to look like just a pile of cables like this.
Spaghetti.
And you
spaghetti.
just shove a disc in there and it works.
So you do think it's just going to be like still handheld, just beefier?
I think so.
Like instead of just a little dock you put it on, the console's going to be
they
big thing.
They could still do it. I bet they're going to find a smarter way of doing the dock. But I think it's going to work the same. Okay. I don't think they're going to. I think they found something really good. And the way Steam Deck is working for the PC, for Valve, they made their own little mobile PC. The kind of graphics they're pumping out of that, which was developed like 2 or 3 years ago, pretty good. You can play a lot. You can play Star Wars, the last one, not on max settings, like lowest settings, but you could still do it at like 30 FPS, which is the same crap Nintendo's doing on their Switch. So it's like you're going to be able to get high fidelity games out at acceptable frame rates at that size. Now, the Steam Deck is probably twice the thickness of the Nintendo Switch. The Nintendo Switch is stupidly skinny, and it is awesome. And I remember how awesome it was when it came out. But it's like they can go bigger, and they should, because they need more power, and they could. I don't know how you guys use the mobile version of it more than me. I never really use it. Do you think it'd be better if it had a bigger screen? Because I think usually people like a little bit, maybe another inch diagonally. I don't know.
I say make it bigger. I actually like it to be a little beefier. I feel like it's
too skinny
and it hurts my hands.
It makes my hands cramp up.
Yeah, so I need a little girth, little heft.
Yeah, I think it's going to be thicker. Who doesn't like a nice thick controller? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly. I agree with you. I think they before. I always agree with you, dude.
I know you did.
Nintendo used to have their home console and their handheld. That was their two big things. Yep. And then after the 3DS,
and the handheld always killed it.
Right,
no competition.
And then they started moving their design teams together because they were doing the Switch, because they were moving mobile and console. And I think they've got their niche,
the sweet spot.
The sweet spot of, hey, we're covering both. We're doing our at-home console, and it's also our handheld gaming. And no one really compares. Yeah. No one's ever been able to compete with the handheld side of things.
And dude, you see like the newest Samsung phone, and you can see the graphics they can produce on a phone. And you just look at that and you're just like, yeah, they're going to be able to produce something nasty with some of these really next gen chips, processors that are real small and don't require a lot of like cooling like a PC does. So I think they're going to be able to produce something I might be quite pleased with.
So you're saying rectangle? Is what you're saying? It's going to just be the screen.
I think a pyramid.
I said triangle.
Yeah, but 3-dimensional.
And you laughed at me.
The triangle is 2D, bro. I want them to make a.
Messing with you, bro.
That's what I meant.
That's not what you said. Words matter.
Like a
Words
pyramid,
matter.
like the bottom, the base, and then it goes up like this, and there's a light on the top.
You actually did? I was just thinking of a way to one up the ridiculousness, and I was like, I'll just make it.
And the screen goes in the bottom, like that, and it just pulls out.
Oh, whoa! Yeah. And how do you control it? How do you control it? What are the controllers shaped like?
Oh, it's the same thing. It's like the Switch.
Oh, it's just
girthier.
Two handles on the side, Joy-Cons.
But then the console that's there is
a pyramid.
And they call it the.
What do they call it? Yeah. Let's hear it, dude.
Trigon.
Like the anime Trigon. You guys wouldn't know that.
Let me think about it.
It's a classic. Okay, yeah, you come back with us.
I'll come back.
But yeah. I was kind of secretly bummed because I was like, I'm going to PAX like next month. I was like, I'm not going to see them.
You should ask them.
I'll ask them.
What's going on?
Ask them about
what do you guys got back
Tears
there?
of the Kingdom DLC. If we're gonna get anything.
Yeah, I got you.
When you do the Nintendo Treehouse.
Yeah, I got to go to the Nintendo. I'm going to the Nintendo thing. Whatever the event is. Apparently they have limited tickets, and I got granted a ticket, or our whole group did. So we're going to give you guys
one ticket for everybody. Like
yeah, we have to like tag out.
Our team got granted one
ticket.
We're like, we're going to have tryouts. Break a little Wiimote and you guys have to fight for it.
But yeah, no, it's going to be
nice.
I'm excited.
Anything else?
No, I don't think so.
No. Josh?
Wow.
What did
who's the
It's something
Why can't I think
good.
of his
Something
name?
big.
It's not. Someone
It's
passed
something-
away.
Oh,
Pee Wee Herman. What's the actor?
no way, really?
Yeah.
Paul Rubens?
Yeah.
Yes.
Is that it?
He passed away today.
Today.
Oh,
He
dang.
died of. He had a battle with cancer.
Secret battle with cancer. Is
Yeah.
what they said.
How old was he?
70.
Got to be pretty old, man.
I think
Jeez.
it's 70.
Dang.
Well, Pee Wee Herman.
I mean, that's how I how I know him mainly. But
Also in
R.I.P.
Batman Returns.
yeah,
Was he in Beetlejuice?
I don't know, but he was a part of Pee Wee's Adventure.
I
20
never
times
watched-
Adventure.
I never
I
watched
think
Pee
we're
Wee
a
Herman.
little too young for that.
Yeah, it's just
I
not-
watched like one or two of them.
People love that.
He made a lot of people laugh.
Yeah. What is the? Yeah. Anyway,
He's making me laugh
He's right now.
It's just such a good
From the
name.
grave.
It's such a funny name. Pee Wee Herman. That's perfect. Perfect.
Pure fake.
I was just thinking of the scene where in the Weird movie where he shows up.
The weird
Supposed
movie.
to be Weird Al. The Weird Al movie.
Oh.
He's at the pool party. Never mind.
Well,
Anyway,
on
R.I.P.
that note,
great way to end.
sorry, it just popped in my head.
All right,
Hey, man.
Yep.
Thank you so much for hanging out with us. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. We'll be back next week
X,
with
bro.
it's not Twitter anymore. X. My bad, Elon.
My bad, Elon.
My apologies. Our apologies, sir. We'll get right on that.
Sorry.
X till we
X-
die.
X marks the
X
spot.
gonna give it to you. Okay.
We'll be back next week with more. Thanks so much for hanging out. See ya.
Bye.
See ya.
Bye.